Okay, part of this week's module is grammar. And even though I'm of the conviction that content always matters more than grammar, it would be completely disingenuous of me to say that grammar does not matter at all, and because it does have a place in standard American English and, in our case, academic writing, okay? So I would shortchange you if I did not offer this crash course, so hold on to your hats. Here we go. So go into our Canvas page here, our HyperCat. Click where it says Grammar Lesson. This is the page with the documents we're going to need. Click where it says Basic Parts of Speech, DocX. If you prefer to have something physical, pause the video now and print this. Same thing with the other document that we're going to look at. Okay, so now, person, place, or thing. Okay, Maria, Disneyland, table. Adjective describes the noun. Okay, so my friend Maria is smart. Okay, so smart is the adjective, yeah, because that's describing Maria, right? Same thing if I said Disneyland is so fun. So fun is describing Disneyland, a place. Now, all right. Verb. My friend Maria jumps high. Let's actually move it here. Oop, let's go here. Oh, that's very odd. Okay, there we go. My friend Maria jumps high. That's odd that it does that. Okay, so check it out. So the noun is Maria, right? And the verb is that she jumps. How does she jump? She jumps high. Or I can say this. Peter speaks quickly. A lot of times, actually, adverbs end with ly. Not all the time, but a lot of times. So our noun is Peter. The verb is speak. And how does he speak? How does he do the noun? Quickly, right? He speaks quickly. The subject is who or what performs the action. Okay, because in a sentence, to have a complete thought or idea, there's a subject doing something. A verb, right? To express a complete thought, to have a complete sentence. And the object is who or what receives the action. So if the subject does the action, then the object receives it. I actually have an example for you here. This morning, I was rudely awakened by my hungry cat. All right, so, well, let's do it this way. Let's look at it like that. Who is this? What's the action, first of all? What's the verb? That's right, awakened. So we'll make it red. All right. So who performs the action? Who does the waking up? Which is the subject. Who's the subject here? We'll go ahead and make that green. Yes, it's the cat. The cat. Oh, that's very odd that it changed color. There we go. Okay. So the cat is the subject. The object, who or what receives the action. Okay, in this case, who is being woken up by the rude cat? Here we go. I, right? The pronoun. Well, let's go ahead and make it, I don't know, blue. Why not blue? Okay, so there you have it, folks. Subject performs the action. Object receives the action. When I say action, that's verb. It's the same thing. The verb or action here is awakened. Who does the waking up? Subject, in this case, is the cat. Who's receiving the waking up? The pronoun I. All right. So you guys can have this one printed out, or just leave it open. Clause. Okay, go ahead, click where it says clause notes. Do you guys have one of these fidget spinners? They help me a lot. Very tactile. All right, so clauses. Well, that's very odd. Oh no. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and keep this open because actually it's going to go with our PowerPoint here. So again, pause the video and print out clause notes if you want to print it or just have it open. Either way. It's also a good time if you have a tablet and maybe a stylus or Apple Pencil. Those are pretty rad to have. Okay, so click here, independent and dependent clauses. That'll be the first thing that we'll look at. Sometimes I have trouble opening this. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, let's just do it this way. Oh, but then my face goes away there. All right, so I guess, how should we do this? I think we'll just download it. Excuse me a moment. Why did it go like this? Ah, how funny. I think we should just drag it out. That's like the easiest way we could do here. Go to open with PowerPoint, and we'll be ready. Do you guys play any instruments? I play drums. Okay, slideshow, play from start. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about a clause, okay? So a clause, simply put, it's just a phrase, a group of words, okay? We have independent clause and we have dependent clause. First of all, to be independent, you could stand on your own. If you're an independent adult, sweet. You're paying for your own place, covering your expenses, working, you're independent, you're standing on your own. Same thing goes with grammar. So for it to be an independent clause, it is a complete sentence. It expresses a complete thought, yeah? Has the subject, has the verb. Hey, you guys know what that is now. And it expresses a complete thought, such as this example here. Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz. Dependent is the opposite. To be dependent is that you cannot stand on your own. You need something else to support you, right? Same thing goes for grammar. So a dependent clause cannot stand on its own. It does not express a complete thought. Sometimes it might not even have a verb, or it may not even have a subject, or it might have a subject and a verb, but it does not offer a complete thought. And a good way to remember this is a dependent clause leaves you with a cliffhanger type effect. You're left like asking yourself, yes, and? Like, look, such is the case here. When Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz, yes? So that's dependent. And if you'll notice here, under our clause notes, when, I thought I saw it here. There we go. Yeah, so when falls under dependent marker words. So a dependent marker is just, it's a word that if we find it at the beginning of a sentence will make the whole clause dependent. Like, it's like, when I wake up, and if only I could omit when, if I could say, I wake up. See, that's independent. But if I say when I wake up, I'm left with like that feeling of like, yes, what happens? It's like a cliffhanger type thing. So that's what's called a dependent marker word or subordinating conjunction. It's the same thing. Just FYI. When Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz, that's dependent. All right, let's resume. Yeah, so we already said that. Here's some other examples. You guys can look on your sheet for other dependent markers. And like I said, if you start your clause with this, you just, because I am hungry, that's not a complete sentence. That's a dependent clause. Okay, so here's the thing. So with sentences, I mean, granted, you can have like a singular short sentence, but if you return here to clause, you can have if you want to get all fancy with it, if you want to combine clauses, first of all, you can have a compound sentence, which you have your little formula here when you have two independent clauses, or it's called a complex sentence when you have a dependent clause and independent clause. And it does not matter, if you started with independent clause and end with dependent clause, it doesn't matter. It's just as long as there's a combination of dependent and independent in the same sentence, then that's called a complex sentence. Two independent clauses is called a compound. Here's how I remember it. The word compound means something that has multiple parts, but like with complex, the understanding is like it has varied parts, right? So, if I say, I don't know, maybe if I could say the molecular structure of such and such element is complex. I'm saying that because it has varied parts, yeah? They're all different. So in the same way, if you think of it, okay, varied parts that are different, complex, okay, then that's dependent and independent clause. The other one's compounds, so two independent clauses. And throughout this presentation, we'll keep talking about that, so to be able to hammer that in. Okay, so how to combine dependent and independent clauses? Which is what? Is it a complex or is it a compound? Yes, complex. Hopefully you said it out loud. Okay, so you can either use what's called fanboys, coordinating conjunction, which, if you look at your worksheet, fanboys is simply an acronym for and, or, but, or, yet, or so. Or you can use what's called independent marker words. Here's some examples of some independent marker words. Also, consequently, furthermore, however, moreover, nevertheless, therefore. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we proceed. Okay, so first one, we're going to do the whole fanboys one. Sweet. We said for and, nor, but, yet, and so. So let's return to our example of Jim studying for a chemistry quiz in the cafeteria. Hopefully it's not too loud for Jim. Cafeterias can get loud. Okay, Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz. What kind of clause is this? Dependent or independent? Independent, yes. It's expressing a complete idea. It can stand on its own. It has the subject. It has the verb. It's expressing a complete thought. How about this one? But it was hard to concentrate because of the noise. But it was hard to concentrate because of the noise. Is that a dependent clause or independent? Yes, that's dependent. Okay. And actually, this but is one of our coordinating conjunctions, one of the fanboys here. So notice that there's the formula that it follows is that it has a clause and then it's comma and then it goes the coordinating conjunction, the fanboys. Okay. Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz, comma, but it was hard to concentrate because of the noise. You can also say Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz, comma, yet it was hard to concentrate because of the noise. Either way, you'll still be creating a complex sentence. Now, with independent marker words, here's some. Also, consequently, furthermore, however, moreover, nevertheless, therefore, and actually, I want us to go. Actually, first, I want us to look at this example here. Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz. What do you see here? Semicolon, okay? Semicolon, however, comma, it was hard to concentrate because of the noise. So that's the formula that we follow when we use independent marker words. And let's actually look at some examples on this link that I have for you here. Awesome. Here's some other examples. Yeah, so here's advertisements. So here's some other independent markers like addition, comparison, concession, contrast, emphasis, illustrate a point, summarize. But check it out. They all, oh my goodness, I don't like ads. But what they all have in common, since I don't like ads, let's just kind of move this here. What they all have in common is that whole formula. So look, I wanted to see a scary movie, semicolon, however, comma, my friend wanted to see a comedy. We had very different opinions. Therefore, we went our separate ways. Notice, semicolon, then it's an independent marker word, and then comma. Therefore, we went our separate ways. You need to concentrate on your studies. Otherwise, you'll fail the class. Chris was determined to get high marks. Nevertheless, he did not pass. Oh, Chris. Almost. I wonder what happened. The thunder and lightning were intense. Consequently, the crowd dispersed. Notice how that whole independent marker has the effect of isolating the word and having a large pause. So, blah, 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 da, 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 da. And actually, we do this in our own speech pattern. We don't even realize it. We're using independent marker words without realizing it. See, grammar is present even in our speech, in our day-to-day speech, without realizing it. So, oh, here's a little typo. There should be a comma. A tropical storm. What is that? Oh my gosh, Google's talking to me. A tropical storm was forecast, semicolon. Hence, comma, we stayed in the resort. He enjoyed, this is a funny one, he enjoyed getting a new tie. Nevertheless, a sports car would have been a better gift, of course. So see how that works? That's the formula there. Yada, 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 da, 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 da. Okay, so Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz. That's an independent marker, and then independent marker word, semicolon. However, it was hard to concentrate because of the noise, okay? And notice, guys, that these are two independent independent clauses. Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz. That's independent clause. It was hard to concentrate because of the noise. That's also independent clause. They're both expressing complete ideas, and they can both stand on their own as complete sentences. And that's why it's called independent marker words. It's demarcating to independent clauses. Yeah. What kind of sentence? What kind of sentence employs those two independent clauses? Compound or complex? Compound. Okay. Yeah, we talked about that. Two independent clauses. Compound. Dependent clause or an independent clause, in whatever order. That's a complex sentence. Because something that's complex has varied parts. In this case, in grammar, dependent and independent, varied parts, right? Makes it a complex sentence. All right, so all this is about, I'm just giving you tools for you to feel more varied, feel more colors to choose from. I'm giving you a palette and giving you tools that you can use to be more creative with your writing. You know, we all have our own stylistic choices. Maybe we like to write more tersely, da 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 da. But you know, it's a stylistic thing. But here's some choices for the same sentence, but employing different ways to combine the clauses. So, two independent clauses. You can just make two sentences because an independent clause can stand on its own. I went to the store. Period. I didn't buy any bread. Period. That's valid. These are all valid, but I just want you to see this. I went to the store. Semicolon. I didn't buy any bread. Oh, where did you see the semicolon? Okay. The semicolon, here's something that you need to remember. The semicolon is used only when you have two independent clauses that are directly related to one another. Just like this one. I went to the store, semicolon, I didn't buy any bread. You know, you not buying bread is still directly related to you going to the store. Like, you didn't buy any bread at the store, right? Same thing. Like, if I said, for example, I went to the hardware store, semicolon. They had the hammer that I wanted. See how these are directly related, and they're both independent clauses. So remember that. Semicolon only when you have independent clauses and that they're directly related to one another. Okay, and this one we have a fanboy coordinating conjunction, right? For, and, or, but, yet, so. I went to the store, comma, but I didn't buy any bread. You could say, I went to the store, comma, yet I didn't buy any bread. However. Okay, Here's the independent market. We just learned this. Yes. I went to the store, semicolon. However, comma, I didn't buy any bread. See, I went to the store. However, I didn't buy any bread. Okay, what kind of sentence is this? Dependent clause and independent clause. Is it complex or is it compound? Yes, it's complex. Or you could just combine it into one sentence. So I didn't buy any bread when I went to the store. It's all valid. These are all just different ways of expressing the idea, and that relates to what? Your stylistic choices as a writer, right? Game time. All right, guys, check this out. Go to this link here. Let's see how you do. This is for funsies. See how the learning is going. This is about identifying clauses, dependent and independent. Let me move this here. You're just identifying what's in red. So John did his homework. Okay? Is that expressing the complete idea? Does it have the subject? Does it have a verb? Yep. John is the subject. He did his homework. Did, verb, okay. He did his homework. So that's independent. Yes, that can stand on its own. Make sure to always click check, see how you do. So go ahead and try this game out, see how you do here. All right. That's it for this. That's it for independent and dependent clauses. And you know what? Let's go ahead and close it. I don't want to make things more messy. But I will keep open the notes, the documents. Okay. So we have this. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize it. If you guys are stuck there. Okay. Basic parts of speech, clause, independent clause. We just did. Okay, next one. This one says run-ons, fragments, and comma splices. Go ahead and download it. If you have the same problem that I have, that for some reason it just shows scrambled code, then here's what you can do. You can do what I did, and that actually helped. Grab it. As long as you know where the file is, then go to right-click, go to Open With, and hopefully you have PowerPoint. Just open it with PowerPoint, and there you are. I'm going to get some water, actually. Water is perfect. Water is awesome. So I was very intentional with my choices of topics for this grammar lesson because they're things that I see over and over and over and over and over. All right. Okay. Run-ons, comma splices, and fragments. So I see this so much. Run-ons, fragments, comma slices. They're easy to correct, though. Yeah, we already talked about this. You know, if you can use fanboys, that's one of the ways that you can separate clauses. So for example, if I want to say something like, oh dang, my shirt got wet. That's what I guess I got really into the water. It's all good. But if I want to say, I am hungry right now. I went to the fridge to get some food. You see what's missing there? Yes, the coordinating conjunction. So, right? So I can say, maybe I should be writing that. This should help. Okay. I am hungry right now, so I will go to the fridge to get some food. See? All right, so we've been talking about. There's always a comma before the coordinating conjunction. Remember that, okay? Oh, here's some other examples. This is a great class, but the teacher never finishes on time. Oh my goodness. It's now 1 o'clock, comma. So let's start the workshop. Professor Velasquez talked about the history of the Mayans, comma, and she discussed their art and music. Sweet. So that's one way. And here's why we do this, because we want to avoid run-ons. A run-on is just what it sounds like. It runs on and on and on. And a lot of times that's because there's multiple verbs, multiple subjects, and they're all just cramped together, and there's so much going on. Look at this example here. The global food crisis is a threat to Africa. Many children are dying of hunger. see how there's two things going on and they're just crammed together. But if you want to join them, there's a lot of things you can do. Here's some ideas. You can separate them into two sentences. The global food crisis is a threat to Africa, period. Many children are dying of hunger, period. Okay, that's one. This is a sad one. The global food crisis is a threat to Africa, semicolon, many children are dying of hunger. So remember, the semicolon is utilized only for independent clauses, okay? And independent clauses that are directly interrelated to one another, such as is the case here, right? Water. Okay. Here's our friend, the coordinating conjunction. The global food crisis is a threat to Africa, comma, and many children are dying of hunger. Or, you could join them by subordination. So something like this. As a result of the global food crisis in Africa, many children are dying of hunger. So if you're like subordination, what are you talking about? What is this? Go back to the clause notes and subordination. Here, so it's just when we say subordination, so subordinating conjunction. So as a result of, as a result of the global food crisis in Africa, that's dependent clause, comma, many children are dying of hunger. So dependent clause and independent clause is a complex sentence. Okay. The next one, guys, is a comma splice. Simply put, a comma splice is using a comma instead of a semicolon. You already know that a semicolon is used to separate only independent clauses that are directly interrelated. So, look at this one here. Don't use a comma, use a semicolon, okay? Because that's called a comma splice. College is hard, comma, the expectations are higher than high school. It's a comma splice because these are both independent clauses. College is hard, that's independent clause. It can stand on its own. It's a complete sentence. The expectations are higher than high school. Same thing. We need the semicolon there. The professor assigns too much homework. I don't have much free time. Same thing. It's a comma splice. Just because they use a comma here, and it needs to be a semicolon. That's really like small potatoes, but I just want to be able to talk about it. Simple. Look, it's a piece of cake. Like, look, you could make them separate sentences. College is hard, period. The expectations are higher than high school, period. Or you can just change the wording so it can become a complete sentence. College is hard because the expectations are higher than high school. You could use one of the fanboys. College is hard, comma, for the expectations are higher than high school. So we've been talking about expressing complete thoughts, expressing incomplete thoughts, which is what dependent clauses do. Because I went to the store, yes. So that's what a fragment does. A fragment expresses incomplete thought. Look, sometimes a lack of verb, lack of subject, or both. Whenever she asks, yes, as this was a great opportunity, yes, finding nowhere to turn, yes. I actually want to show you a fragment that I see all the time. And I see it on the back of Amazon trucks. There's more to Amazon Prime. I want to show you. There we go. I always see this, guys. There's more to Prime. Right here. Do you see the fragment? This is a fragment. A truckload more. What? That's not a complete idea or thought. I always see that. So like, next time you see that, you'd be like, yo, that's a fragment. Oh, shoot. Excuse me. Okay. We talked about fragments. They don't express a complete idea, can't stand on their own. a dependent clause. Oh no, I got the hiccups. What an inopportune time. Excuse me a second. Yeah, I think it was all that laughing. Maybe. Okay, so let's return to our example. Finding nowhere to turn, that would have been a fragment if we just left it alone, or a dependent clause. Okay? It's not expressing a complete thought. But if we say it this way, finding nowhere to turn, comma, the young man eventually turned to alcohol and drugs. Oh my goodness, what a sad one. But now, grammatically speaking, it's expressing a complete idea, right? And what kind of sentence is this? First of all, what is this? Is this independent clause or dependent clause? Can it stand on its own? Finding nowhere to turn? Nope. It can't stand on its own. So it's a dependent clause. The young man eventually turned to alcohol and drugs. Can that stand on its own? Yep, that's independent clause. So dependent, independent. That's a complex sentence. Sweet. You just join the sentences. Look, my uncle always gives Janet the car. That's an independent clause. That's good. Whenever she asks, what? That's the fragment there. Whenever she asks, yes. You're left with like a cliffhanger effect. But you can just combine them. Like, look, my uncle always gives Janet the car whenever she asks. Now it's all good. Okay, yeah. Essentially, guys, these are all tools that I threw your way. It's just a color palette. It's up to you, like, stylistically what you choose. But, you know, it goes down to your writing style. But I just want to present you with these tools. Okay, now try it out. Go to game time. Game time. Let's go ahead and highlight this and copy it. What happened to I had Chrome open up. There it is. So go ahead and paste that in and go to start. This one is identifying if it's a run-on, if it's correct, or if it's a fragment. Check this out. Sports help keep you in shape. Everyone should find some sport they enjoy. This is a run-on. Notice, try to identify if there are like two okay, if there are clauses just jammed together, then it's a run-on because it runs on and on and on. Notice it's here. Sports help you keep in shape. That's the end of a clause. Everyone should find some sport they enjoy. So that's a run-on. So go to submit. See? So try it out. Try to identify what is what. Okay. So that's that. Last thing. Actually, not the last thing. I just forgot to mention this. Not clause notes. Parts of speech. Okay. Yeah, before I forget. Common noun and proper noun, right? That's another one that. So, a common noun is a more generic version of the noun. So, if I say park, then that's lowercase p, right? That's a common noun. But if meaning when it's a common noun, it's lowercase, okay? But if I say, I don't know, maybe Greenfield Park. I don't know, heard of such a place, but I just made it up. This is a proper noun. So a proper noun is a more specific version of the noun. So a common noun is just more generic, and proper is more specific, okay? And that's when you capitalize. So same thing, if I say the word president, that's a common noun. But if I say President Kennedy, that's a proper noun, and it is capitalized then. Another big one that I see quite a bit is, let's start a new one, is seasons. Seasons, guys. Just interestingly enough, you don't capitalize seasons. Fall, oh my goodness. Fall, spring. Why does it do it on its own, though? Fall, no, stop it. Fall, spring. spring, so on and so forth. Okay, but what about our semester? What if we want to be more specific? What if we want to say spring 2020 semester? Now we capitalize it because it now becomes a proper noun. But if I just say spring like that, oh, come on, stop it doing that. Capiche? So do be careful with that. Another big one that I see is doctor. The word doctor is a common noun, but if I say Dr. I don't know, maybe Dr. Jones, that's a proper noun. It's a more specific version of that noun. Capiche? Okay. That's it for that. That's it for that as well. Yes, the last thing. Awesome. We're doing some good time. We're doing good time. Making good time. That's the expression. We're making good time. Paragraphs and transitions. Okay, go ahead. And this is a PPTX. This one should just open immediately. All right, folks. Paragraphs and smooth transitions. This is an important one. Okay, so with a paragraph, usually the rationale behind its organization is that they present to us, a singular topic. You don't want to cram too much into a paragraph. Like I've actually seen papers where the whole first intro paragraph it lasts like a page and a half. Like, but there's like so much going on. It's like no, create a new paragraph somewhere. It's not a hard and fast rule, but you want to limit it to limit an idea to a paragraph. Don't have like a ton of ideas in the same paragraph, because then that's kind of like that whole thing with the run-on. It's like so much going on, but it's an organizational thing. Okay, so if you learn, you learn from 101. The thesis is the central idea or central project of the whole paper. Then in a paragraph, the topic sentence is the central idea of the paragraph, and the supporting sentences support the topic sentence of the paragraph. Just like with essays, the body paragraphs support the thesis. Yeah. So when we organize, make sure that the topic sentences make organizational sense in how they are scaffolded. Okay? So first this, then that, then that, then that. Try to have some sequential reasoning behind how you organize the paragraphs. And that's why I'm big on brainstorms and outlines, and we're gonna do that. So okay. So another thing, build bridges, have transitions throughout your paragraph. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so here's just some things that you can do in a paragraph. Like, after you have it clear what your topic sentence is, use examples, illustrations, cite data. Here's some things you can do. Here's just ideas. Cite data, examine testimony, use an anecdote or story, define terms, compare and contrast, evaluate causes and reasons. Imagine effects and consequences. Analyze the topic. Describe the topic. Offer a chronology of events. These are just some ideas. So when do I start a new paragraph? When you start a new idea or point. So if you feel yourself, okay, I just jumped to something else, hit that enter button and start a new paragraph. Contrast information or ideas. So it's physical demarcation. It's a physical demarcation of topics. Yeah. When your readers need a pause, when you're ending your intro, obviously, yeah, or starting your conclusion, they're their own paragraphs, right? Okay, transition. So check it out. Within paragraphs, when we jump from idea to idea, you don't do it abruptly. No, you create a bridge, you create a transition, and the way to look at it, like that's why I like this picture. Like you can't jump from this puzzle piece that's hanging there all of a sudden, just jump to this. No, you need to bridge. And I like that this actually works visually, because the way that you transition is that you find a point of commonality between the previous idea and the subsequent one, which is the case here with the puzzle. So the point of commonality between this puzzle piece and this puzzle piece is that this is the point of commonality, that this piece fits here and this piece fits there. So it's connecting them. Okay? So find a point of commonality. And that is just as much as if you're doing it within a paragraph, as even transitioning between paragraphs, which actually is going to be part of our practice for this week's module. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're doing your research paper on the benefits of recycling. Maybe one paragraph is about how recycling ultimately benefits marine life, by not getting plastic into their ecosystem and choking them and having them swallow. Okay, so if when you're talking about the benefits of marine life, and then the next paragraph, all of a sudden you're talking about the benefits in parks, you don't just want to jump from the benefits of the recycling has to marine life to all of a sudden in parks. Like, if you're just talking about marine life one moment, and then the next you're talking about parks, it's like, whoa, what happened there? You just kind of flew from landmass to landmass. You don't want that. Instead, you need to bridge it. You need to transition. You need to find a point of commonality. Just like the Bay Area, right? So San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge connects it with Sausalito, yeah? You can't just fly from San Francisco to Sausalito without bridging. Yeah, without the bridge, you need the bridge. You can't fly from landmass to landmass. Same thing. You can't fly from paragraph to paragraph if the topics are disparate and you don't find points of commonality to bridge them. And even if those points of commonality are maybe implicit in your mind, but you never make it explicit for the reader, then it's like, that was so abrupt. That was so jumpy. Here's some ideas for common transition words. Notice how what these all have in common is that they are helping to connect, right? Undoubtedly, unquestionably. So that's like connecting something previous. Along with this, as well as, nonetheless. So you're talking about blah, 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 blah. Nonetheless, you're going to deviate from it. But like I said, try to find a point of commonality, bridge it. Last but not least, this is just some ideas of transitional phrases that we might hear, phrases or words. There's just some examples. But hey, look, we were just talking about the Golden Gate Bridge. You can't fly from San Francisco to Sausalito without the Golden Gate Bridge. You just can't fly. You just can't do that, and it's very jarring. Like at one moment you're talking about marine animals, and the next you're talking about parks. Like, whoa. That was so sudden. That was jarring. Okay. Oh, another thing too, guys. If it's like from paragraph to paragraph, you can have it at the end of the previous paragraph or at the beginning of the next paragraph. Yeah. And we're going to look at an example of that. They help the reader immensely, because a lot of times, like, you make connections in your own head, but you leave it so implicit. You don't tie the strings together, and it's like the reader's just left guessing, like, what it is that you meant, or why it is all of a sudden you're talking about this topic. How is that related to the previous one? And then moreover, how is that related more largely to the thesis, which is the central project of your essay, which is what creates cohesion, right? Like, everything needs to have that purpose of further fleshing out or supporting the thesis, right? Maybe you've gotten some of these comments on your papers. Hey, this is choppy or jumpy or abrupt, or hey, what happened to the flow? You need signposts. How is this related? Or maybe your readers, instructors, friends, classmates tell you they have trouble following your organization or train of thought. You tend to write the way you think, and your brain often jumps from one idea to another pretty quickly. Like, I'll admit it. I'm like, my brain's kind of like that too. So I need to always remind myself to make it clear how the previous thought or idea is related to the next. And that goes the same with your writing. So do be mindful, do be cognizant. Here's another one. If you wrote your paper in chunks and you just pasted them together, and it's like, what? It's all disjointed now if you don't have those transitions. And here's an example. Here's two examples. Just listen, okay? Listen. I have 7 pairs of red shoes. I don't have any purple shoes. I do not need to buy more shoes. There's no money in the bank. Yo, okay, one moment you're talking about shoes, and then you're talking about money in the bank. So you as a writer understood how that's connected or interrelated, but you left it so implicit, you left it in the air. No, you need to have the transition. You need to make it clear how those ideas are connected. So if I say this, I have 7, like what if I say this? I have 7 pairs of red shoes, but I don't have any purple shoes. What if I say, I am so contented with my current collection of shoes that I do not need to buy any more shoes. Besides, even if I wanted to buy more shoes, see how that's a point of commonality between this? We're talking about buying shoes. Besides, even if I wanted to buy more shoes, comma, there's no money in the bank. See? Now we have transitions. Listen to example 2. Going back to college will be difficult. I have not been in school for over 10 years. I am married with 4 children. I will try my best to balance work, family, and school. Okay, that let's try. Okay, going back to college will be difficult because I have not been in school for over 10 years. You might say something like, additionally, comma, I am married with 4 children. And I might say something like, despite this, comma, I will try my best to balance work, family, and school. See, we've connected it. You're going to do the same. Thanks for sticking it out, hanging out with this grammar lesson. All right. Oh yeah. So let's go to next. Okay. So here's what you're going to do. There's 2 paragraphs here, and these paragraphs are they jump from an aspect of the topic to the other aspects of the topic, but so abruptly, like just poof, just without a transition. So you're going to create a transition. I want you to listen to it. Video games are a popular pastime for many people around the world. Their popularity exceeds many other leisure activities. In fact, many people even spend countless hours watching others stream themselves playing video games on a platform known as Twitch. These Twitch streamers can sometimes even have millions of subscribers. In Fortnite, players combat against one another to be the last one standing. Matches usually last for about 20 minutes. One of the cool things about Fortnite is that players can select from different characters or skins. Some of these skins are more uncommon than others. Whoa, you see how that's like such a sudden jump? One moment you're talking about video games and their popularity, and then you're talking about that they're so popular that people are watching gamers stream. But the larger topic sense is that you're talking that this is about is the popularity of video games, right? So if you're talking about the popularity of video games, and all of a sudden, boom, you're talking about Fortnite, what? That is such an abrupt transition. It is so jumpy. So it's going to be your job to create a transition. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to hit reply. You're going to copy this. You're going to copy it. And your transition, I want you to have it in another color, please. So the actual font itself, if you can choose a color, let's see if I can remember. Font sizes. It's not font size. It's font color. Actually, I just remember. I think you highlight it. Let's see if I can remember. Why am I not seeing it? I know there was one for the color. That's very strange. Why am I missing it? There it is. Text color. It wasn't as common sense because it's like, what? That's the color. Okay. So Please change it into something bright. Maybe red. Red's good. Okay. Video games are a popular pastime for many people around the world. They're popular. So how would you connect these two paragraphs? The popularity exceeds many other leisure activities. In fact, many people even spend countless hours watching others play themselves playing video games on a platform known as Twitch. These Twitch streamers consistently have millions of subscribers. You can say something like, one of the more popular titles that folks stream on Twitch is Fortnite. Something, I don't know, but somehow connect it, yeah? You can have it here. You can have your transition here. Either way, it's all good. Yep, at the end of the previous or at the start of the subsequent one. In addition to that, you're going to select one classmate's post to reply to as well. Like say like, hey, good job on your transition here. I don't know, I like the way that you did this, that, and the third. And that's it for this week, folks. That's it for this week. That's it for Module 1. Hope you learned some things or even had some cool refreshers on grammar and such. Other than that, guys, have an awesome week. And yeah, I'll catch you online. If you have any questions, shoot me a message.